Delphi Academy. Sounds fancy, right? It's a private school with a global presence. But there's a buzz, a whisper, a question mark hanging over it. Is it just a school? Or is it something more? Some people say it's secretly teaching Scientology. They point to the curriculum, the founders, the whole shebang. Others say it's just a good education. Who's right? Let's dive in. This isn't just about one school. It's about what happens when education and belief systems collide. Can they coexist, or does one inevitably overshadow the other? Buckle up, because things are about to get interesting. Delphi Academy boasts impressive stats, high test scores, graduates going to top colleges. On paper, it's a success story. Parents rave about the individualized attention and the focus on practical skills. But then come the allegations. Former students whispering about Scientology teachings woven into every subject. Talk of Ron Hubbard's study methods being the backbone of the curriculum. It's a tale of two schools. One is a beacon of academic rigor. The other is a breeding ground for a controversial belief system. So which is it? The answer, as always, is complicated. At the heart of the controversy lies applied scholastics. This teaching methodology, developed by Ron Hubbard, yes, that Ron Hubbard, is used in Delphi schools. Supporters say it's a revolutionary approach that emphasizes understanding over rote learning. Critics argue it's a way to subtly instill Scientology principles in young minds. Imagine a math problem about calculating the speed of spaceships, or a history lesson that mentions alien civilizations. Is this just creative teaching, or is it conditioning students to accept Scientology's more out-there beliefs? The line gets blurry, fast. Let's rewind to Delphi's beginnings. The founders? Dedicated Scientologists, their vision? A school that embraced Hubbard's teachings? This is not a secret, but the school maintains that Scientology is not part of the curriculum. They say it's about applying Hubbard's study methods, not his religious beliefs. It's like saying you love making guacamole but have no opinion on avocados. Possible? Sure. But it doesn't stop people from raising an eyebrow. The connection is there, undeniable, and that's what fuels the suspicion. Section 5. Inside Delphi Student and Teacher Testimonies. Now let's hear from those who were there. Some former students talk about a positive learning environment. They praise the individualized attention and the emphasis on critical thinking. Others tell a different story. They describe feeling pressured to conform, to accept Scientology ideas, even if subtly presented. Teachers, too, have mixed experiences. Some say they were free to teach without interference. Others felt the invisible hand of Scientology guiding their lessons. The truth likely lies somewhere in the middle, a mix of genuine educational passion and a subtle undercurrent of influence. Section 6. A chorus of voices. Supporters and critics speak out. The debate rages on. Supporters of Delphi point to its academic achievements. They argue that if kids are learning, does it matter what method is used? Critics counter that education is about more than just grades. It's about developing critical thinking skills, questioning everything, and forming your own opinions. Imagine a world where the most efficient teaching method involved subtly promoting a certain ideology. Would it be acceptable? That's the ethical dilemma at the heart of the Delphi debate. Section 7. Unmasking the Truth. Delphi's educational practices. In this section, we delve into the unique and somewhat controversial educational practices employed by Delphi schools. Here's the thing. Delphi schools use something called study tech. This method is designed to enhance the learning experience by focusing on understanding and practical application. It's supposed to help kids learn better. Sounds good, right? The idea is to make sure students fully grasp the material before moving on to new concepts. But guess who came up with it? Ron Hubbard. He's the Scientology guy. Yes, the same Ron Hubbard who founded the Church of Scientology. Delphi says study tech is separate from Scientology. They insist that the techniques are purely educational and have no religious content. They say it's just about learning. The focus is on helping students overcome barriers to understanding, such as misunderstood words or lack of practical application. But critics aren't so sure. They argue that the methods are too closely tied to Scientology principles and could subtly influence students. Imagine learning math by using Scientology terms. For example, using specific jargon that originates from Scientology teachings, or writing essays about Scientology ideas. Critics worry that this could lead to an indirect indoctrination of students into Scientology beliefs. That's what some people say happens at Delphi. They say it's sneaky. Delphi denies it, They maintain that their sole purpose is to provide a high-quality education. They say they just want kids to learn. Who's telling the truth? The debate continues with passionate arguments on both sides. It's hard to say for sure. The truth may lie somewhere in between, but one thing is clear. The discussion about Delphi's educational practices is far from over. Section 8. The Ron Hubbard Connection. Separating Fact from Fiction. Ron Hubbard. You can't talk about Delphi without mentioning the man. Ron Hubbard's influence is deeply embedded in the fabric of the institution. He's a controversial figure, to say the least, the founder of Scientology, a science fiction writer. His works have sparked debates and discussions for decades. Some people think he was a genius, a visionary who saw beyond the conventional boundaries of thought. Others think he was, well, something else entirely. A charlatan, a manipulator, someone who blurred the lines between reality and fiction. Here's the thing, Hubbard's ideas are all over Delphi. His educational philosophies, his methods of study, and even his unique terminology have found a home here. From the study methods to the terminology used in classrooms, his influence is unmistakable. The school claims these methods are effective and beneficial for students. Delphi says it's just about using what works. They argue that the techniques derived from Hubbard's teachings help students learn better and achieve more. But critics say it's a way to indoctrinate kids into Scientology. They believe that the school is subtly pushing the religious ideology of its founder onto impressionable young minds. So, is Delphi a front for Scientology? Or is it simply an educational institution that happens to use some of its founders' ideas because they work? Or just a school that happens to use some of its founders' ideas? The debate continues with passionate arguments on both sides. The answer is as clear as mud. The truth may lie somewhere in between, shrouded in layers of history, ideology, and personal belief. Section 9. Delphi's Defense Addressing the Allegations. Delphi isn't just sitting back and taking the criticism. They've repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. They say they're just a school trying to provide a good education. They point to their students' successes, their high test scores, and their college placements. They argue that just because they use some of Hubbard's study methods doesn't make them a Scientology school. They say they embrace students of all faiths and backgrounds, and they insist that their curriculum is secular and focused on academic excellence. Section 10. A question of choice, freedom of education or veiled influence. Here's the big question. Even if Delphi isn't actively pushing Scientology, are they being transparent enough? Parents have the right to choose where their kids go to school. But that choice is based on trust. Trust that the school is being upfront about its methods and its affiliations. If there's even a whiff of hidden agendas, that trust is broken. And that's the crux of the issue. It's not just about whether Scientology is being taught overtly. It's about whether parents are making informed choices about their children's education. Section 11. Delphi Academy's legacy. What does the future hold? So, what's the verdict? Is Delphi Academy a front for Scientology? This question has been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate for years. The answer is far from simple. On one hand, there are those who argue that the Academy's use of Ron Hubbard's educational methods is a clear indication of its ties to Scientology. The evidence is murky, the arguments passionate, and the truth elusive. Supporters of the Academy claim that Hubbard's methods are merely effective educational tools, devoid of religious connotations. One thing is for sure, the controversy isn't going away anytime soon. The debate has sparked protests, heated discussions, and a myriad of opinions from both sides. As long as Delphi continues to use Hubbard's methods, questions will linger. Critics argue that these methods are inseparable from Scientology's ideology, while proponents insist they are simply innovative educational practices. And the debate about the intersection of education and belief systems will continue. Parents, educators, and students alike are caught in the crossfire, each with their own perspectives and concerns. The challenge for Delphi is to be so transparent, so demonstrably separate from Scientology, that even the most skeptical critic is left speechless. Can they do it? Only time will tell. The future of Delphi Academy hangs in the balance, and its legacy will be shaped by how it navigates this complex and contentious issue.